never make it this far. They hated, they never believe me. Yeah, I would never drop the ball. I know I make it look easy. Yeah, Mayweather with the defense. I don't care what a critic gotta say. I got them picking up the pieces. That to me, you really playing with your life. I'm about to come and run it all back. I'm the new era, about to snap back. You ain't fitting for it, cause you all cap like.
Welcome to the Stuck in My Thoughts podcast. As always, I'm your host, Justin Stuckey. And this episode is brought to you by Halls, because as you can tell, I don't really have a voice today. We're in Orlando, and we're sitting down with the one and only Adriana Rizzo. How you doing?
How you doing? I'm doing good. Feeling good. I didn't know this was Halls was with us. I'm a big fan myself, so that's I approve. I
approve too, because when I was in the airport at 4 a.m., I was like, there's no way I can sit down with Adriana Rizzo with no voice. So
I think your voice is sounding good. It sounds good to me.
It's getting there. Got me a pack of Halls, overpriced. It was $7. I don't understand that, but it's okay. I need my money back. But we're here, and we're sitting down with you. And for starters, everybody on my show knows I'm a huge WWE fan, so this was an iconic opportunity. I was excited to get down here and chop it up with you. But you're a little hurt right now.
This is true.
This is true. So I want to know, for starters, how are you doing?
Injuries, they're always tough, but I'm doing okay. I believe everything, just a part of the plot. It's a part of life. So first few weeks, really rough. I couldn't walk for 6 weeks. I watched a lot of movies. I sat around. But now that I'm walking, things are looking up. Things are going all right.
What was the best movie during that downtime?
What did I watch? I watched a movie. I think it's called The Greatest Beer Run Ever with Zac Efron.
Shout out Zac Efron.
I think it was maybe a few years old, but I'd never seen it before. And I thought it was kind of sweet, and I don't drink beer, but I liked it. I liked it, so it was good. I don't
drink beer either, but I like Zac Efron. His best movie is High School Musical.
Oh, yes.
Classic, yes. If I do say so myself.
Very.
And one thing I've noticed through your Instagram, your YouTube, your TikTok, all the social media platforms, this was not your first injury. You revealed to us, you've been competing on a partially torn ACL for a year and a half. Two-part question, why and how?
Yeah, so luckily we're on a podcast because this is kind of a long explanation. But basically, I started my wrestling journey 2022 I started, and I was 3 months in, and I ruptured my Achilles. So it was kind of a freak accident. I don't know. I was just, taking a step, boom, Achilles goes. So I recover from that. 6 months go by. I'm back. Fastest recovery ever. I had, really good mentality. Things were good. 3 months later from that, I partially tear my ACL in a match. So I was, out there doing my thing. Boom. It just... I hear a pop in my knee. I'm like, what the heck's that? I got, the PTSD now. I'm like, why is my leg popping again? It already did this once. So I kind of freaked out. I actually wrestled my first TV match 4 days later. But at that point, I had already been sitting waiting for so long for this opportunity. So I had to do it. I was like, there's no choice. I'm like, I can walk. I'm okay. There's definitely something going on. But I just, I was freaking out. It wasn't cool. I was freaking out. But I had that match. It was a lot of, fun. It was crazy, but it was a lot of fun. After that, I had one more match, and then I finally got an MRI on my knee because I was like, this is not going away. I've never had a knee issue. So I was like, maybe I just sprained it. I don't know. I get the MRI back, partial ACL tear. Being out already, I haven't even gotten anything cooking yet. I can't, be out again. WWE, it's very competitive, revolving door, people in and out. I'm like, I gotta stay in the game. I gotta do whatever I can. So they scheduled me for surgery. I went in. I said, I'm not doing this. I just did this. So I said, is there anything else we can do? they said you can rehab for a few months and you can wear a brace. And I said, sign me up. Let me do that. So I did that. I came back. I felt great. I felt like I hadn't even had a problem. I wore the knee brace for a year and a half, no problems. And then I got out of the brace and I worked on it for 2 months and I was, feeling confident. And then one day at practice, boom, my knee explodes and kaplooey. And then, at that point I had to get the surgery, and that was the first part. And then you asked me why. I guess the main reason was I felt like if I sat out again, I might not get the opportunity that I wanted. So I felt like I had to really just push through it. And there was a wrestler, I think it was Victoria. She actually wrestled. She had no ACL, and she wore a brace like her whole career. So that was somebody I was like, you know what? This has been done before, and she gave me a lot of inspiration and confidence to kind of give that a shot. And I don't regret it. I'm glad I went that way, but now obviously I'm sitting out, and it kind of sucks. But it's like I feel like I did so much in that year and a half that I was proud of, and so I'm like, it was worth it. And now hopefully I'll get another chance. So that's kind of the whole deal.
On the right track so far. You mentioned Victoria, one of the people that you have looked at as inspiration to keep going. Who have been some of the other maybe vets in the game or other superstars in the game that have gone through those injuries that have been able to give you some advice of how to navigate that road? I saw Charlotte Flair comment on your Instagrams and everything.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, a lot of people have ACL injuries, so there is a long list of people who have experienced this and who are great people to reach out to. When I was at WrestleMania, our Stand and Deliver show, Tegan Knox was somebody who I ran into, and her story, she had 3 ACL tears during her time in NXT. And, she talked to me there, and I was like, okay. There's a lot of people that have had, a tough journey, and they still found success, and they still, made it out with something they were proud of. So that's kind of, my inspiration, or where I kind of am like motivated with that.
In that year and a half, you talked about you really didn't have a choice. You didn't want to miss out on any opportunities. You wanted to be able to perform, be a part of those storylines, be a part of those matches. When you were going through, and many people are not in that closed corner, don't know what's going on, what was the hardest part in that year and a half?
I think just so many people, when you're injured, they don't realize like what you're really going through. Like even in this week, like I'm out for 9 months that's the minimum ACL requirement till you're cleared with WWE. And I had so many people like who I work with, colleagues, they know me. They're like, "What? You got a couple of weeks left? It's just kind of the lack of knowledge behind stuff." And obviously, not everyone's gonna know what's going on. But I think it's hard to kind of like go through injuries, like major injuries, and just so many people kind of not realize how serious it is and how inhibiting it is to like everyday life. Like I wasn't walking for 6 weeks, and people are like, "Oh my God, like this has gone by so fast." I'm like, "Maybe for you." I'm like, I've been struggling. I'm like, I gotta order food to the door, and that's all I can do in my day. Which I guess it's not that bad, but after 6 weeks, you wanna do something else.
I was on Operation Crash Out when I tore my knee.
Yes.
I was sitting on the couch. My dad came over there, and I said, "I can't do this."
Yes.
Can't do this. But it's good to have those people in your corner. We've seen family help you. Other superstars may have been able to pitch in to help you along your journey. But your journey didn't just start here, inside the wrestling ring, the squared circle. It started before then. Rizzo has always been athletic. And
thank you.
Yes, if you didn't know, she's really athletic, doing tons of flips. Your athletic background started ways before. Can you talk about how that athletic background, specifically in track and field, helped you be able to convert that over to the WWE and NXT?
Yeah, so unfortunately For me, it does not translate well.
Oh.
Well, it does in a lot of ways, like, being explosive, being fast, it definitely, and like I had done, gymnastics for a while, body control, super, super important. But essentially for me, I ran, in a straight line my whole life, and I jumped straight, so then getting into this career, you're jumping, you're running around left and right, you're cutting, that's something my body's clearly not used to, and I feel like my hypothesis is that's led to a lot of my injuries, is not having that, like lateral training under my belt. But I also think I just had an unlucky, string of events and unlucky, like dominoes falling over. So it's just kind of, been shaky. But in terms of just athleticism, we do combines, you're jumping, you're running. Those are my favorite. I always do well in those because I'm like, that's where my inner track and field can shine. And I do think in wrestling, just kind of being a raw athlete definitely helps you like pick up, the training, the techniques, that whole thing, definitely helpful. But like, I don't know if it translated the best for me, but there are a lot of really good track and field athletes translated perfect. So it will. Bianca Belair, she's another example. She was a Tennessee track athlete, and she's been killing it, and no injuries, knock on wood. So
well, her finger is broken right now.
That's true, but a finger,
we can be all right. I met Miss Belair in Nashville, I think back in February.
I met her originally in Nashville too. That was the first time I met her.
We're gonna get into that. Shout out to Bianca, but we talked about her track and field background, and I'm so biased to track and field athletes. WWE recruit, still need y'all to call me. I'm still a little salty on that.
Yeah, they should hit you up.
Hit me
him
up.
up.
Hit me up. That's all I'm saying.
He's got it. I can tell.
You talk about Nashville. That's where Rizzo's WWE tryout was. Can you take us through that WWE tryout experience? Because you had people from Kalani, Jordan, Dwight Howard was there.
He was there. I don't know why he was there.
Yeah, I really don't know. I think Izzy Dame was there. Yeah. A whole lot of now talented WWE superstars were there. What was that tryout experience like for you?
I went into that experience and I was, I had no expectations. I had no idea what to expect. They gave me a phone call. They invited me to a tryout. I was like, this is a once in a lifetime thing. I got to give it a shot. I got to do this. But they really made a point. You don't need any wrestling experience. You just show up and, it felt very relaxed. So I was like, okay. I was big, in school. I studied. I did my work. I prepared. But they didn't really give you anything to prepare. But every tryout's different. So I just, I went into it with an open mind. And it was very difficult. It was crazy. The ropes, you look at them, you're like, oh, that looks kind of fun. They look bouncy. They're very painful. They're not, I don't know, rubber bands, something, slingshots. They are like a cable with duct tape, painful. We had promos. We had, rolling in the ring. We had put you on the spot. Lots of stuff I was very uncomfortable with at the time. I was, I wasn't in front of the camera. I was behind the camera. So it was kind of a new thing for me. But the tryout, was crazy. And I was like, I don't know. I'm an athlete. I'm just doing what I'm told. I don't think I had the most charisma. I think they saw me as more of a wrestler, athlete, than a character with personality. I am sitting in the back. I don't know what's going on. They call me over and they're like, hey, go over here. I don't know what's going on. Something's up. I get called into a room and I sit down and Triple H is there and there's cameras everywhere, kind of like this actually, we got lights and everything.
Well, stuck in my thoughts set up,
Very, very professional. And they sit me down and I'm like, oh, what's going on? What are we doing here? I don't know. And they're like, hey, we want to offer you a contract. We want you to move to Orlando. And my reaction, it's on the internet somewhere, unfortunately, but my reaction was like, do I got to agree to this right now? I had other plans. I didn't know, we got to do this now. I was just freaking out. It was just like a movie moment. It was super memorable. And that was kind of, I don't know. I actually recorded, I made a vlog of the whole thing. And I had no expectations of the end of the tryout. I was like, oh, this is cool, fun experience. And then when I actually got the contract, I was like, whoa, this is serious. This is real life. And then, here I am 3 years later, and I've been wrestling, and I never thought that this would be my career after college. I had never thought.
What made you say yes?
Yeah, so it was a really, really hard decision for me. I wanted to continue track and field. I wanted to long jump. I wanted to coach. That was my plan. And then when this opportunity came up, I was like, I never considered this. It wasn't in my plan. So I was my mind was spinning. I'm like, this isn't a part of my plan. I don't know. But it felt like a once in a life opportunity that I couldn't pass up. So the ultimate reason I decided to do it was I loved photography, videography, acting, all that stuff, and I love being an athlete. And I felt like, I was like, wait a minute, WWE can kind of blend my two passions, and that was something that I was like, this might be the perfect thing for me. So I had to do it. I had to give it a shot, and I'm really glad I did. I just wish I wasn't injured so much.
In due time, you'll be back. But let's take it from the perspective of a healthy Rizzo. Not many people get to be behind the scenes and living that life as a WWE superstar. Can you take us through a week in the life of a WWE superstar?
So basically, what do? I got, Mondays, you got your in-ring practice. So we're wrestling for a couple hours a day. You got weight room, strength training, just, it's kind of like Division I athlete without classes, kind of.
Oh, I like that.
It's fun. It's really good. And then we have open ring, which is more in-ring training. So that's kind of a Monday. And then if you're on TV, you're gonna have pre-tapes, and you're gonna have stuff to do. Maybe a picture, or you got to sign something. More of that kind of stuff. Tuesdays, TV. That's what NXT on the CW, 7/8 Central.
Check it out.
NXT every Tuesday, live show. That's what we got cooking. And then Wednesdays, same as Mondays usually. Thursdays, we got promo class. So you're working on, speaking on the mic, working on your skills live, performing, that kind of stuff. And then you got shows Friday, you got shows Saturday, and then you get Sunday off, and you sleep, and then you do it all over again and again and again, and that's kind of a basic week, I'd say, in the WWE for NXT talent.
Sounds good. Sounds like something that I might need to dabble into at some point in time. We'll see. But you've been known throughout your tenure in WWE to be not just by yourself, but a part of the family, the Diangelo family. And as we know, it came to a crossroad, as I'd say.
Unfortunately.
Looking back on the time with the Diangelo family, what was your favorite part?
I absolutely love being a part of the Diangelo family. The beginning to end, it was my favorite thing. It was the best. A moment. There were so many moments. I think for those who watch and follow the storyline, I think my favorite part was when we got into our storyline with Oba Femi. He is the ruler. He is the NXT champion, and me and Oba, we have a problem. So Oba,
I seen a crowbar.
Yes, I have threatened him with a crowbar before. This is true. That was probably my favorite. We did a lot of fun stuff. We had a lot of serious moments. We had a lot of fun moments. We kind of hit everything. So that storyline, we got to smile, have fun. We went to the family restaurant, and then we had our serious moments, and we had our moment when Tony overcame all these setbacks, similar to how I actually feel in real circumstances with my injuries currently. So it was those were really cool moments that I can relate to now, and that was my favorite kind of piece of the puzzle. How
did you embrace your role in the family? Everybody has to play a role.
Yes. I was known as the glue to the family. You know, the boys, they're a bunch of knuckleheads, and obviously the way the family, destructed itself was because the knuckleheads, they were knuckleheads. So I felt like my role was, keeping the guys in line, keeping the guys' heads in line, and motivating them and helping keep things in order. And, together we were just a group that made sense. Luca was the lawyer. He took care of that stuff. Tony was the boss. Stax, who was a rat. And we don't
mess with rats.
We don't mess with rats anymore. But at a point, at a moment in time, Stax was a good guy, and he was loyal. And the family, we were loyal. We all were a great bunch. So I hope the family can, reunite someday, because I still have belief that the family can live on. But we'll see. Sometimes a rat just is a rat, and you can't, nothing you can do about it.
Sometimes family have to go away to get back to one another.
Right, this is true.
But before Rizzo goes out there with or without her crowbar, what are some of your pre-match routines? What do you do to get ready?
Yes. So when there's time, sometimes you got to go. You put your outfit on and you got to run out there. Sometimes there's no time, and that's not good. But when there is time, I like to, I do a track warm-up, which I don't know if that's goofy. Everyone else in there, they're getting a pump in, they're getting their arms nice for the match. I'm doing A skips, I'm doing B skips, I'm doing, wall, kicking the
leg swings.
The leg swings. I'm doing a couple of, sprint outs. I'm doing some box jumps. I like to get that all in, because when I was in track, my coach, we did like a 40-minute warm-up. So that's what I was used to. Whereas now I'm like, I got 5 minutes. I didn't even stretch my leg yet. I gotta be out there. This is crazy. So I'm kind of used to just chaos. You don't know what's gonna happen. Sometimes you got the time, sometimes you don't. And when I was healthy, I was doing beet juice, because there was this thing going on where all the athletes, they were drinking beet juice. It's this powder you put in your water, and it was supposed to I don't know. I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna sound like not right. It opens your capillaries or something, so you can your cardio is up. It's better. And if you get tired, you're out there, deep in a match. I'm like, it's like a placebo for me. If I got my beet juice, I might be okay. So that I was doing that, but that was a little bit, 4 times. And then, this happened.
I've heard about the cherry juice.
Oh, yes.
Not the beet juice.
No, the beet juice is different.
I got to get on that.
Yeah, cherry juice, that's recovery. Beet juice right before. Yeah, you might have to do that.
Take notes.
That might help.
Take notes,
beet
everybody.
Juice.
Putting you on game. So one thing I've noticed about you during your time with the WWE, you're really good on the mic, in my opinion. But it didn't start here. Back when you were long jumping, running your sprints in a straight line, you were at this this hill, I think they call it Chapel Hill.
Oh, yes.
This university, and you took some improv classes.
I did.
How did that help when it comes to being able to talk your stuff on that mic in improv?
So the funny thing is, I actually tried to avoid any public speaking. There was a public speaking class. Everyone took it. I'm like, I'm not taking that. I don't want to speak publicly. And then I accidentally took a drama, a communications, the description. It had nothing to do with public speaking. And then all of a sudden I get to class and they're like, hey, we're doing a scene, we're acting, or hey, you got to do. I'm like, what did I sign up for? So I kind of accidentally took these improv classes. And then once I got there, I actually was the most embarrassed I ever was. So I think the level of embarrassment prepared me here. But there was one class I took. So there was this boy, and I had a really big crush on him. I was a sophomore in college. And I was like, oh my God, this boy, he's in my class, 10 people in the class, not very many. And of course, he's in the class. First day of class, we get in a circle. it's dance. We got to dance in the middle of the circle. Everyone takes a turn. Everyone in this class, they're cool. They know how to dance. I don't know how to dance. I admit I have no dancing. I have no rhythm. I can't dance. So everyone's cool. They're doing, you know, the Millie Rock, and they look cool. I get in the middle and I do the robot. I didn't know what to do, and I just felt like everyone was booing silently. And this is at 8 a.m. This is 8 o'clock in the morning. I took this class. So I was, you know, and then I did a 6 a.m. lift prior to that class, and then I'm dancing.
At least you were warm.
I was warmed up, that's true. And then, you know, I do that class an entire semester, and at the end we have a final. And the final of that class, they were like, hey, we're going to give you a scene. You're going to present it in front of everyone. I'm like, okay. I'm not much of I didn't do any acting. I'm uncomfortable. I get the script, and I am assigned this crush that I had. We have to do the scene together. Okay. And the scene is absolutely so embarrassing. It is that we were dating and that he like cheated on me and he was leaving me. And I was so embarrassed because I think he knew I liked him, but he didn't like me. So it was like we were living this scene that was like, it felt a little too real to me. So I was absolutely embarrassed, and I did not, and there was a lot of games we had to play that I don't even think they were appropriate for school.
Did your crush have dance moves? Could he dance really well?
He was like, like a Magic Mike in the middle there. He was very good.
What a comparison.
I know. I will give him his credit. He was very talented, but that was it. That was all I got to see.
Oh, okay. This helped me segue to my next point very well. You mentioned boys. You mentioned crushes. What is dating like in the WWE?
It's good. It's really good. I'm just kidding. No, I actually had the plan to not date anyone in there because I had previously, you know, tried to date someone on a team in the past, and I was like, oh, this is too much. So I'm like, let me not get into that. So I went like about 2 years. I didn't talk to anyone. I didn't date anyone. So that was pretty cool of me because everyone else is, you know, dating immediately. No shade to any of you, but you all did that. Anyways, so I waited. I was like, this boy, who I will soon name, he had a crush on me for the longest time. And for a year, I really liked him, but I'm like, I'm not doing that. So I ignored it. And then I liked him for like over a year. And I'm like, all right, I've had a crush on him for over a year. He's been trying to date me. Let me give it a shot. And it was the best thing. So I'm Cutler James is his name. He's a Dark State member, and he makes lots of questionable comments. That's kind of his thing. Mm-hmm. He's got. So it was great. I'm glad I did it, and but not everyone should, because there's also a lot of negativity, you know, that comes with, you know, dating in the job. You know, you date and it goes wrong, then there's drama.
And you see them every day.
And sometimes you have to wrestle them. So that's even more awkward. Sometimes we do the mixed classes. You're wrestling your ex-boyfriend. That's a little weird. But sometimes it works out. Some people, you know, they get married. You know, there's a lot of, you know, Bianca Montez. There's a lot of success stories. So hopefully that's where I'm headed. But usually I'd be like, hey, no. But, you know, I waited and, you know, so I did my waiting.
If you and Cutler James get married, will sexy BJ Ray be invited to the wedding?
Oh my God, I don't know. I never thought of this question. You know, they butt heads. I've been doing a lot of this, but apparently that's just the theme of the day. You know, they did wrestle at Duke together. They were teammates, and then, you know, they got into a scuffle. So I feel like that would be more his decision, you know, how he feels about their relationship. So I guess question mark BJ Ray on the invite? I don't know. I'm sorry.
Cutler James, we got to have you sitting in his seat, and I can ask him.
Yes, he'll have a lot to say, I'm sure.
Yeah, we saw LFG.
Yes.
That was something. But sticking with life in the WWE, you kind of touched on this earlier. We're looking at inspirations and influences when it came to your injury. Who have been the people that have influenced you the most during your time in WWE?
So my original inspiration. So I was in college. Like I said, I had no plans to wrestle, and I watched. This is gonna sound goofy to some people. I watched this movie called Fighting with My Family. Have you heard of this movie?
I'm not familiar.
You're not familiar. Okay, so this is a movie that is kind of documents a wrestler's journey, and her name was Paige, and she. Her family had a wrestling school, and it's about her journey getting in NXT and the main roster, and it was so I watched that movie and I was like, I love this. This is so cool. It really inspired me. Afterwards, I went on. I watched a bunch of her matches, and I hadn't been a huge viewer of WWE, and that movie really drew me in, and she was one of the first people that I really was inspired by, and I was like, I need to see more of this, and she was somebody I really admired.
I like that a lot. No matter if it's the past, the present, somebody's always inspired by somebody, and this person recently made a return, AJ Lee, and it takes you back to the moment. I'm thinking I was 14, 15 at the time. Simply put, seeing somebody who's legendary in WWE, was it like seeing somebody like that come back?
So what's actually kind of segue off of what I was just talking about, AJ Lee was actually the second wrestler, because she, at the end of the movie, she has her and Paige have a match for the Divas title, and AJ Lee is she's holding the title at the time. And so Paige was the one I followed, and then AJ Lee right after. So those two were really big inspirations for me, and I looked into their matches, and I was super interested in them at that point. So she was, one of the first people, and seeing her return after 10 years, I think it was, I didn't think she was going to return. I hadn't seen it, I hadn't heard anything. I'm like, everyone talks about, people returning. When she came back, it was the coolest. I had chills, because I didn't think she was coming back. It's been so long, and then she came back, and she looked the same. She didn't even age a day.
Abs were insane.
I need to talk to her about that.
Need that routine, AJ.
We need that immediately. After walking for 6 weeks, I lost my abs, so I need to develop those again.
A couple crunches, do that.
I've been trying. It's not easy.
Work in progress.
I'm getting older. I'm injured. Things are harder now for me.
It's okay. We're going to go to therapy. She talked about therapy.
Yeah.
Have you tried therapy?
I have tried therapy, and it's good. I recommend it.
If you want to get better, try therapy. It may not be for everybody, but it may be for you.
It can't hurt. It can only help you. It can only help you.
I like that. I was supposed to be in Chicago when AJ Lee returned. But my coworkers talked me out of it. Yeah, Trevor.
Who the heck? What's wrong with
Andrew.
them? Why would they do that?
I don't know. I'm a big Cena guy. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to see Cena's last SmackDown.
Yes.
And I saw the build-up. CM Punk was like, you know what, Becky, you're not going to be slapping me in my face. I can't hit no lady.
So good.
I got somebody who will. I regret it.
Yeah, it was.
But it was all over TikTok.
Yeah.
I was glued to my TV screen, and it's okay.
That's unfortunate. A very iconic moment, probably one of the most iconic moments.
You're rubbing it in, Rizzo.
That you missed.
It's okay. I'm going to catch one of your matches, though, when you get back.
Yes.
That'll be iconic.
I'll invite you when that day comes.
Appreciate it. You talked about Paige versus AJ Lee going up against each other. Who are some of those women's superstars that you've enjoyed going up against? I've seen you go against Jada Parker.
Yes. I mean, unfortunately, my list is not very long. But, Jada Parker, she was my first feud. She was good. She was a tough opponent. Mm-hmm. Then I think we had a little something with the NQCC. We had a mixed tag, Ren Sinclair. We never really hated each other. We actually were good friends. So, that one was, just for the competitive spirit, I guess. And then I had we had the culling. That was the most recent. Izzy Dame, me and Izzy Dame, we've had a lot of scuffles. So I got to get back. You know, I got to finish business with that. I didn't get to finish what we started. And those were a few. But my favorites, like when we're working, practicing. I love me and Jasmine Nix. We love working together. Carly Bright, Kendall Gray, Lainey Reed, Chantel Monroe, who you know. Mm-hmm. Those are some of my favorite people to, work with.
That's what's up. Who were some of your dream opponents?
I've always really liked the idea of wrestling Rhea Ripley. Ooh. Rhea Ripley, she's insane. I think she's so good, and I feel like she would just level me up so quick. I'm like, let me just, you and me, and then boom, the potential would show, I feel.
Do you have any tattoos?
I do not. I am bare.
Do you think Rhea Ripley would, if you wrestled her pretty often, she would kind of inspire that? You think you get any tattoos?
To me, getting tattoos, no, I don't think so. I thought about it, and then I changed my mind, and then I'm like, oh well, and then I changed my mind, and then I'm like, I can't do that. I'm gonna get some, spaghetti and meatballs, and be like, why did I do that? That's just, yeah. I changed my mind too much.
Probably stay away from food, tattoos.
See what's
or names.
Names, you get your, there's a girl we work with. She has a heart tattoo that says Mom. Hayes, if she's on LFG. Yeah. She's got the Mom. It's pretty. That's the one I would get.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with that.
Yeah, because you're never going to not love your mother. No. So that one seems very, that one seems foolproof.
Love your mama.
Love your mother.
Okay, Rizzo, 4 names, and I need them. Your WWE female Mount Rushmore.
My God, there's 4 of them. This is tough. I've thought about this before, and I don't know. I never can answer it. It's different every time. So today, I guess, let's see. I'm going to start with Rhea Ripley, Charlotte Flair, and for some reason I want to say Paige and AJ Lee, just because those were kind of the 2 who got me, really into this. I think I love that era of wrestling. That's kind of, if I'm watching old stuff, I go and look at like 2015. So I think those 4 for now. It always is changing. I never know.
Like that. It's revolving. Then you got to earn your spot every day.
Right. Every day. It's changing. It depends.
You were a big inspiration for athletes while you were on the track. Now you're an inspiration, especially for the young girls out there in the wrestling scene. How do you... I don't want to say this. What's the appreciation there? And how do you own that responsibility to know that you're inspiring those girls that show up to the shows week in and week out or see you on TV?
Listen, the young girls, those are the best fans, because wrestling, there's a lot of old men that are the fans. No offense to the old men, but that's a very large demographic. So, you go to the shows and you're like, hey, there's that guy again, and hey, there's that other guy. But when it's a young girl, I feel like, at least for the females, you can relate to once being a young girl, and you're like, oh my God, I was once like you. So I feel like it feels really empowering, and it feels really good when there's like a group of little girls and they're cheering you on, and you're they're doing your thing, and they're getting excited about it. That's what I did. That was what I did all the time, and they did it back. They did it back, and that's how I know it was doing something, or when they're wearing your T-shirt, that kind of thing. So I know growing up when I was watching track, or I had people who were role models to me, it was a huge impact in me becoming who I am. So it's a really big responsibility, and I think that it's cool to be able to have the opportunity to even be that for someone.
Nice. So when you come back to being able to be in front of the TV screen or in front of those young girls in person, what's that approach? You got a lot of downtime now. We're in this nice setup,
yes.
This new room that you've made. Room. What's the approach when you come back and hit that ring?
I have so many approaches that my mind is everywhere. This is my third injury. One thing I'm trying to do in this time off is discover a way to come back and be fearless, because a lot of times I'm in the ring and I'm like, I keep, going through these really tough things. So I want to come back. I want to feel fearless. And as far as, I guess my, I don't know if the family is, dead. I don't know. I don't know if we'll come back, but individually, I might have to, hit Chicago, do some deep soul searching, go back to my roots, and, maybe I come back and I'm my own boss. Maybe I'm the, my own entity. So that might be, what I gotta figure out and do, and come back and, be that, I guess.
I like that. You touched on a point and you said your main focus, please excuse me for my voice, guys. I don't know what's up.
It's good voice.
It's something. You want to be fearless, because when you get in the ring, there's always that thought, man, I got hurt. I don't want to get hurt again. This may be advice for yourself, but also advice for all the other people out there who may be approaching something again. It didn't go well the first time. How do you do it? How do you find that inner confidence to be fearless no matter the situation and just go for it?
So one thing that has been very motivating, and I think could be for a lot of people, is that every time I've been injured, I've come back and physically been better. We do, like I said, this combine, or we have these tests where you get like numbers like, hey, you're actually improving, you're better. And we do like a 10-yard sprint, we do a med ball throw, whatever, pure speed, explosion, jumping, all that. And I've come back from my Achilles, I've come back from my partial ACL, and I've run faster every combine, which I don't know how, because I'm not in my peak, state anymore. But it just kind of goes to show that even if you're injured, you can come back literally stronger, physically better than you were before. And I think that's one thing I don't worry about. I don't worry about coming back better, because I know I'll work and I'll get to that point. But as far as the fearlessness, that's something I still struggle with. And I think working on an injured leg for so long, that was kind of the lingering piece that was always in the back of my mind. But now that it's physically, surgically repaired, I think that I'm not gonna have that issue. Hopefully, so hopefully I can move past that and just, have some fun.
It's all about fun at the end of the day. And I told you this because I forgot to tell you ahead of time. I asked, Lord Jesus. I ask everybody who comes on my show, what do you get stuck in your thoughts about?
Well, today I've been thinking a lot about this wiener dog, and he had narcolepsy, and he was running around, and he just falls right to sleep, and then he gets back up, and then he falls asleep. So that was one thing. But to be a little more thoughtful, I guess.
Yeah, we need that.
More serious. I think that everything happens for a reason. So that's one thing I tell myself, whether you go through injuries or you have bad things in your life, I feel like it's all like a breadcrumb trail to where you're actually supposed to be or go. So I don't have, I don't worry about, because I'm like, this is God paving the way. So I feel confident in anything that happens, good or bad, it's for a reason. So I'm like, that's cool, You freak out a little bit at first, and then, there's moments where you panic and you freak out and you have an anxiety attack. But then there's moments where you're, you breathe and you're like, this is why it's meant to be. And then, yeah, that feels good. And that's what I think about.
Yeah, we don't need no anxiety attacks. You mentioned the wiener dog.
Yes.
That made me think about another animal. How's the cat doing in the wall?
Oh, yeah, I think I'm just kidding. The cat's good. So one thing people don't know about the cat, they think he's stuck in my wall. So what I've realized is the cat, he comes and goes. And today's a beautiful day. He's probably, eating some tuna fish by ditch. I don't know what he's up to, but he'll come back and he'll take a nap in the wall. He'll meow. He'll do his thing. But on a beautiful day, he's out. He's out on the town, and you know I'm allergic to cats, so we don't really have face-to-face interactions. But he comes and goes, and you know he doesn't have to pay rent, so we got a good thing going.
That's what's up. Rizzo, who should I bring on the show next?
Listen, I feel like you got to bring Cutler James now. I want to know about the drama. I want to know what the deal is, you know, what he would say about some of your questions. So I think maybe he would be a good one. But who else? Nope, just him. I think you should ask him. So
I'll ask him. Rizzo, thank you for, number one, listening to my voice this whole time sounding like this. But thank you for joining the show, giving us some insight. Wishing you speedy recovery. Well wishes.
Thank you.
Many prayers. We'll see you back in the ring soon.
Yes.
Whoa. Who knew I would make it this far? They hated, they never believed me. Yeah, I would never drop the ball. I know I make it look easy. Yeah.